Hello, everybody. This is the Speak Now podcast, and today we're here with a very special guest, Vince Stokes, our Member of Youth Parliament for St Helens.
Hello.
So
What did you want me to say? Did you want me to say thank you?
welcome to Speak Now, the podcast where we break down the biggest social, political, and societal issues of our time. No filter, no holding back. I'm Libby, and I'm here to dive into the conversations that matter, spark those tough questions, and amplify the voices that need to be heard. Whether it's politics, climate change, or the culture shift shaping our future, we're not here for surface level chatter, we're here to get into the heart of it all. So if you're ready to speak your mind and hear what others have to say, you're in the right place. Let's get started. You're listening to Speak Now. So today we wanted to just ask you a few questions about what it's like to be an MYP. So could you talk about how life's been as Member of Youth Parliament for St Helens?
Well, I've been member of Youth Parliament for nearly 3 years. This is my second time being elected as MYP, and I've done many different things, worked on many different campaigns. And I think for me, being the youth MP of St Helens has given me that edge of responsibility, and it's kind of like made me look critically at my area and think about different issues that I want to focus on. Um, I think that it's been difficult, there's been challenges, but I think overall it's definitely been worth it. And I feel like I have been able to make a difference in my community.
You have to do in your role.
So, as a youth MP, I have a lot of things that I have to do. So, I have to create a campaign based off what young people in St Helens want to see changed. So, for me and for them, that would be food poverty. So, what I have done is I've created a campaign called Feed the Need, and that's basically centered around repurposing food waste from schools and small businesses, packaging them and then sending them to food banks. And this combats not only food poverty but food waste as well. And we don't just stop there though, we go into the educational aspect. So we want to educate people on how to apply to a food bank, where food banks are. And we just want to make it known that like it is an option. It shouldn't be an option because food poverty should not be an issue for the country that we live in. But unfortunately it is. So we've got to make that compromise and we've got to assist young people in an economy that really isn't at their best interest. So it's an unfortunate truth, but it is the truth. So that's what we work on.
So, as you said, it's not a great place that we live in, and I wonder what led you to believe that this was the right campaign for you.
So for me personally, I grew up on free school meals, and I think I really started to notice the effect of the cost of living crisis in my life and my friend's life. When I'd be going around the shops with my mum, and she'd just be complaining all the time about how things have gone, the price of things have gone up, and how it's just not really ideal considering that wages haven't gone up. So I think seeing that injustice from a young age really pushed me to become an MYP because my mum's always told me to just push for a platform and just use your voice to generate change, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think for me, seeing this opportunity come by where I could actually make a difference in my community, I thought it was really like opportunistic that I could use it to voice a pretty common problem that young people face.
That's really, really good. I was just wondering as well, you say that young people face it, but how do you work for the older generation in your campaign?
The older generation, that's a really good question. So in our educational side of Feed the Need, we create these leaflets, and these leaflets basically have a map of St Helens on it, and also include all of the food banks and all the food pantries, the address, the opening times, a picture of what it looks like, and that's all on one leaflet. So we have mass printed them and we have actually just released them to the job centre so that the those who do need it can also uh, know where food banks are so that they do have that support and that is available to them. Um, we are also looking to do a homeless project. Um, which means we want to give essentials for the less fortunate. And that's just so that we can give back and just really like spread the ethos and feed the need. Because food poverty, cost of living crisis, it isn't fair. It can happen to anybody. Um, and it's just not just that we can have excess food every single day, right? And there's people on the streets who just go hungry. So we want to give back to them, and we're going to include the leaflets in there so that even though the essentials we give them will definitely run out at some point, they have the support and they have the guidance to be able to pick themselves up. Hopefully, that's the aim.
Thanks for sharing with us. Do you have any advice for those who want to be the future MYP?
Advice for future MYPs. I would say to keep trying. The world that we live in isn't always a great place, and I think you should just try and not let that get you down. I think that although it is very difficult to make change in the world that we live in, it's definitely not impossible. I feel like in my 3 year term as MYP, I've definitely made change in my community. And not just change you know, on the widespread change, even within our little group that we work with, like I've seen these people develop over the years, mature, gain skills, become more confident. I would just say give it a go, because if you want to make change, there's absolutely nothing you can lose, and the only thing that you get out of it is something positive and something that at the end of the day you can feel happy with yourself for doing.
So you say that it's not just for you, it's for everyone in the youth council.
Yeah.
How do you feel you project that onto the people that you work with? How do you feel that they know that that is how you feel about it?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. Because obviously when we're talking about campaign work, it can often be emailing, can often be talking to certain individuals, like food bank people. So it's really interesting. So the way that we get the youth council involved is by planning with them. So we have uh, sessions every 2 sessions every month in which we have allocated time to work on Feed the Need, where we have a group of about five, often young people, who are really passionate about food poverty as well, and quite like-minded in that sense. And we all just talk about different things that we can do. We expand on our year plan and try and get as much done as possible. As well, we have many different events that we're really keen on. So we've done events in the past, educational ones where we invited young people to the town hall, St Helens Town Hall, and our youth council helped facilitate that. And everybody had a different role. Everybody, I hope, felt like they enjoyed it. But I would say that it's just giving them the opportunity to get involved in this campaign because, like I said, it is making that change. It is making a positive difference. We know that because we've got the statistics to back it up. But I feel like it's just everybody having that moment in the sun where they can just sort of see the community that they live in and just make it better.
So obviously you've been MYP for 3 years. Do you have any highlights of being an MYP that have really stood out?
Ooh, highlights. Um, oh, that's a really good question. I would say for me, the highlight would be going to the House of Commons. I've gone 3 times now, but
Wow.
this year in February, I know, right? You don't hear that every day, but this year in February was the only year that I was able to speak. Um, and it was really interesting because I was able to talk on transport, which is a major issue for all young people across the UK. And it was a really people came up to me afterwards and they said that they really enjoyed my speech. And I feel like that was just a really nice full circle moment because when I started as an MYP, I was quite nervous and quite shy. Had a really high pitched voice. But when it's true. But when by the 3 years come to an end, being able to speak was just amazing. It was a really good opportunity, and I feel like it really was that full circle moment, and I feel like that's something that you just can't take for granted because it's not often that you are coming to an end of a term and you get that satisfying sort of send off moment. So yeah, that'd be my highlight.
So you say you talked about transport. Is there anything you could tell us about what you spoke about, or was there any other people's speeches that really sort of
Yeah,
you resonated with?
definitely. So for my speech in the House of Commons, the idea, the concept that we were um, debating was whether we should have universal free transport for everybody. And a lot of people were really idealistic about it. People were saying that they think it's a great idea, that we should vote for this motion. But for me, something didn't sit right because universal free transport, in my head, sums up, it would cost a lot because when the government reduces um when the government reduces like uh tickets for transport, they have to reimburse the actual business because it's privatized. Um, so it's really difficult for us to say let's make it all free because that just means that the government would have to pay more to these businesses. Government money comes from the people essentially, so that just means taxes would increase. So for me, that would it's a great idea, great concept, but the consequences of that, inflation, cost of living, in the economy that we're in this society that we're in, I don't think that is an ambition for right now. Maybe in the future, maybe one day, but not for right now. But yeah, there was other speeches as well that I really really liked. We agreed upon votes of 16 as our final votes of 16 political education as well as period poverty, period dignity, I should say. Um, that they were our like decided factors that we wanted to focus on, and the speeches for them were just amazing. I didn't really go in with a sway. I wasn't swaying towards a political certain idea that we were debating, but I just sort of listened and gathered my thoughts. And yeah, those debates were definitely really amazing and a key factor in why I voted for them. So yeah.
Thank you very much. So this is the end of our podcast.
Yay!
It's been lovely speaking to you and getting to know you and learning about the sort of things that you do as a member of Youth Parliament. If you haven't already, go listen to our previous episodes on Pride and on knife crime. Thank you. This was Speak Now podcast. Your podcast made by young people for young people.
Bye.